Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting coding session in your favorite programming channel, trycoder.com. Today we are going to be seeing something very interesting, something very cool and an amazing topic under Python known as Python list. We are going to see what is a Python list and how we can access elements in the Python list. We are going to see how we can insert new elements in the Python list. We are going to see how we can use the test membership test in the Python list, and we are going to see the list comprehension. So let us get started with our Python programming. So what is a Python list? A list is just a type of data type that can hold several. It's an input data type that can hold data type with several data types or several combinations of data type. We are going to understand what that better when we are going to be writing our codes, and how we can create a list. Creating a list in Python is simply easy. It's just a matter of few steps, as we did in the Python dictionary. In order to create a list, in order to create a Python list, your data types must be found, or the input data types must be found between square brackets. These square brackets, and the data types are separated from each other using commas. For example, there are many types of Python data types. There are many types of Python lists, such as the number list, a string list, and a nested list. A number list simply contains just numbers, and a string list contains words, animals, contains words that are separated from each other. So accessing elements in a Python list. In order to access elements in a Python list, we are going to use inbuilt data functions. We are going to use inbuilt data function such as the equals to operator sign, the indexing operator sign, which is used to create Python list. We are going to use the equals to the plus operator sign and the multiplication operator sign. So let's see how we can access elements in a Python list. So we are going to open our IDLE, which is our Python compiler. So the first thing in which we are going to see is how we can access elements in Python list. So before accessing elements in the Python list, we must first of all create our own Python list. So we are going to create our own Python list. We are going to create a list of even numbers. We are going to create a list. And we're going to close our list. So we have successfully created our Python list. How do we know if we've created our Python list? The compiler did not return the output as a syntax error, so showing that we've successfully created our Python list. So next is how we can change. The next thing we're going to see now, how we can change elements. We can change elements in an already existing Python list. Just as in the Python dictionary, we are going to use the equals to operator sign. But in the Python dictionary, the equals to operator sign is used to add elements, that's a key value elements in an already existing Python list. But here in the Python dictionary, in the Python list, we are going to see the equals to operator sign. This equals to operator sign is used to change elements in an already existing Python list. So let's take an example. So we are saying that we are telling the compiler that since the number line starts from 0, we are telling the compiler that from the first letter, which is the first number, which is 0 in that case here, which is 1, we are telling the compiler should replace the 1 with a 2. As you can see, the new results, the new output of the new Python list that we have is a Python list having 2. So as I said earlier, we have replaced our first value, which is 1, with a 2. So that is what we did. The 0 here is telling the compiler, since the number line is starting from 0, we are replacing the first number in a number line with 2. So that is what we just did. Next, under accessing elements in the Python list, is why we are going to say we can concatenate elements and repeating a list. The first thing under concatenating is concatenating means we are adding 2 existing Python lists. So we are going to add 2 existing Python lists, and we are going to use, there's a certain operator sign we are going to use, which is the plus operator sign. Let us see that with an example. Concatenating means adding 2 Python lists. So let us see that. Let us first of all create our Python list. We have successfully created the first Python list. Let us now create a second Python list. We have successfully created a second Python list. As we said earlier, concatenate means adding 2 Python lists. So we are going to add these 2 Python lists, and we are going to have a resulting Python list. So let us concatenate. We have used the plus operator sign. Oh, sorry about that. Made a mistake when writing our code, so I'm just going to copy. Supposed to add an S there. Also, we have to check if our code is correct so that we won't get a syntax error as we did in the first code, and we can say everything is correct. As we can see, the first code that we have written is correct. The first code in which we have written is correct. So as we can see, we have concatenated 2 Python lists. As we have added 2 Python lists to give a resulting Python list. We have added the first Python list to the second Python list. We have added animals to babies to have just 1 Python list. That's we have added dog, cat, hen, puppy, kitten, and chick. So we have just 1 Python list. Next is how we are going to see how we can repeat a Python list. So we said that we are going to see how we are going to repeat a Python list, and this is how we can repeat a Python list. We are going to use the multiplication operator sign. We are going to use the multiplication operator sign in order to repeat a Python list. Let us create our Python list. So we're using the multiplication operator sign in order to repeat a Python list. So in order to repeat an existing Python list, you can use a multiplication operator sign. That is, you are telling the operator sign to you are telling the Python list to multiply itself by a certain number. Here we are specifying this Python list to multiply itself 3 times. That is, we have seen here 3. If you want the Python list to multiply itself 4 times, we are going to change the number here to 4. So basically, when we want to multiply a Python list, by itself, we use the multiplication operator sign and specify the number of times we want the Python list to repeat itself. So when we press enter, we can see that the Python list has multiplied itself 3 times. As we can see, A, B, C, D, which is the first time, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, which is the second time, and A, B, C, which is the third time. So that's how we can multiply it. We can multiply a list by itself. We can repeat a list. Then we multiply the list by itself. So next we are going to see how. Next in the Python list, we are going to see how we can insert numbers. We can insert items into an already existing Python list. So in order to insert elements in an already Python list, we are going to use the append method. The append method is used to insert elements. We are going to use the append method. The append method is used to insert elements into a Python list. We can either use the append method to insert elements in a Python list, or we can use the insert method. The insert method inserts elements to a specified location where we want. That is exactly where we want. But the append method simply inserts element into at random into any location. It doesn't follow a specific order. It inserts element randomly into the Python list. But the insert method inserts element into the specified location. But let us use an example using the append method. Let us use an example using the insert method. We have successfully created our Python list and now want to use the insert method in order to insert elements into the specified location. So let us use the insert method. We want to insert 2 So we have used the insert method. As you can see, we have used the insert method to insert element into the specified location. That is, we are going to insert after 2. We are going to put 3. But the append method simply inserts element at randomly. It doesn't follow a specific order, but the insert method follows a specific order. If we press enter, we can see the result. We have seen that after 2 we have 3. So we have inserted an element into the specified location. That is what the insert method does. It follows a specific order. It inserts elements into the specific order. So next, as we earlier saw with a dictionary, Python dictionary under membership test, we earlier said that the in is for shows that a certain value belongs to a Python list, and not in shows that it doesn't belong to a Python list, and the result that always return is true or false. If the value returns true, then yes, that function belongs to that Python list. If it doesn't, then that item doesn't belong to that Python list. Same goes for not in. If the result return as true, yes, that item doesn't belong to that Python list. And if it comes at false, then yes, if it comes at false, then yes, that item belongs to that Python list. Let us see an example. It will be much better for us to see an example while coding. So let us copy this. Let us create a Python list. We have created a Python list, and now we want to check if 7 belongs in that Python list which we have just created. Sorry about that, we made a mistake with our code. Which let us copy. Let us write the code back. Take note that when writing your code, you have to check if there is a mistake or not, or if not, you always get a syntax. If there is a mistake, you always get a syntax error, as we just did. So let us check if the code written is correct. Yeah, we have to see. As we can see, the result which we have is false. We see that 7 does not belong in the list we just created. So the result is false. So that's simply what a membership test is. It checks if a certain value belongs to a given data type, be it a string, be it a dictionary, be it a list, be it a tuple, be it whatever. That's what a test membership does. Now let us see an example we're not in. Let us copy this. And we take print. As you can see, the result returned is true, showing that 7 does not belong in the given list. So that is a Python membership test. So it simply check if a certain item belongs to a given data type, and the result returned is always true or false. True for in showing that yes, if the result is true, showing that yes, it belongs to that data type, and if the result returned is false, shows that no, it doesn't belong to that data type. Same goes for not in. If the result returned is false, it shows that yes, 7 does not belong to that data type, and if the result returned is false, show that item belongs in that data type, and if the result return is true, show that that item does not belong in that data type. So next under this we are going to see a list comprehension. A list comprehension in Python is a way of creating a new list from an existing one. That is, we have an existing list and want to create a new list. We want to create a new list from the existing list. Well, we do that by using a for statement. That is, we are going to use a statement in order to do that. We are not going to use the operator signs, but we are using a statement in order to create a new list from an existing list. Let us see that using an example. We want to create a list of power of 3. We say 3. So as we say, we're using a for statement. We want to create a new list. Sorry about that, made a mistake. Why we did not close our parent we did not close our statement, so that's why we're having a syntax error. As I said, when writing your code, always make sure your code is correct, or you always have a syntax error. Sorry about that. So now we're fitting the correct code. As you can see, now we want to create a new list from this existing list of power 3. So it's a list comprehension. We're creating a new list. So we're saying create a new list of power. As you can see, we have created a new list of power 3. That is we have seen that the new list that we have created starts from 1, 3, 9, 27, 81, 243. The list starts from 1 going over 1 times 1, 1 times 1 times 1, 3, 3 times 3. So that's how we're doing. We're creating a new list we're creating a new list that is of power 3. That is basically what a list comprehension is. We are creating a new list from already an existing list by using a specified statement. So that is all for today under Python list. We hope this session was good and very well understood. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and comment for subsequent videos. Please don't go away. Happy coding.